Hi guys, it's Rob from Royal Balls. I've got a big video for you this time around, and this is going to be how to construct a pretty snake, and more importantly how to deconstruct a pretty snake once you've made it so that you can identify what's in it. And I've got a couple of clutches here which are going to be quite interesting. We're going to start off with Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla, and we're going to add Mojave and Spot Nose to it. We're going to look at each of the individual genes, what they do, how they stack up together, and what to look for in the snake so that you can identify it. Hopefully you'll all find this useful, particularly since it's an Orange Dream clutch. Alright guys, so you've actually seen both of these clutches before, and this is the sire for both of those clutches. He is an Orange Dream Yellow Belly, so we've got two of the basic ingredients for making our pretty snake right here in this one snake. Now, Orange Dream and Yellow Belly is a particularly nice combination because together it keeps Orange Dream really bright. Here is one of the females that we used for these two clutches, and this is a Pastel Mojave Vanilla or Pastave Vanilla. You can see she has a very light coloured head, and that is Pastel Vanilla, but you can also see the very characteristic dripping alien heads with the single keyhole of Mojave. Remember this pattern, very, very distinct for Mojave. We've got fairly circular alien heads that drip like teardrops down the belly, and we've got a single keyhole in each of the alien heads. The Mojave pattern starts quite high up the belly, and we often have quite high white sides on a Mojave. You can see that here. So this is one of the females. This is Pastel Vanilla Mojave or Pastave Vanilla. This girl here is the second snake that we used for the second clutch, and this is also a Pastave Vanilla or Pastel Mojave Vanilla, but adds Spot Nose, and you can see Spot Nose in the head stamp of this girl. You can see that there is a much more continuous dorsal stripe, and you will see that those alien heads here now have been slightly distorted by the fact that we've put Spot Nose in. They're much more squarer rather than round. You see this alien head here still has the single keyhole in it, but has a square top instead of being round. These are typical Mojave-like alien heads with teardrops. This one is much more reminiscent of Spot Nose with a much squarer outline. So this is a combination of both Spot Nose and Mojave. So let's break that down and have a look at the individual genes, what they do and how they stack up in the offspring when we start to combine them back together. So let's start off with the obligatory normal. This is our base canvas, this is our starting point. This is the snake that we're going to add various genes to make the snake better, to make it look more like our vision, to make it prettier. What are the features of a normal? Normals are highly variable. But the pattern, I think, is familiar to everybody. It has a variable belly. You can see that there are belly markers here, but nothing very distinctive. There's not a lot of blushing and flames up the side. There's a dorsal stripe which is slightly yellower and creamier than the rest of the snake. There are the typical alien heads, some of which have keyholes, some of which don't, and in a normal they're quite irregular, and the pattern is also quite irregular. The colour is just that browny gold colour, and the head stamp, there is a little bit of blushing on this head stamp, but not very distinctive. And if we can get this guy to keep still, you'll also see that it has full eye stripes which go right to the back of the head, but the head stamp is open. The eye stripes are also not very wide. So base canvas, this is our normal. So immediately in the father you can see that we have a much brighter snake, we have a much more banded snake, we have some quite distinctive features, but overall the snake is much brighter than the normal. We've made this snake brighter. So this is our Orange Dream Yellow Belly. You can see the Orange Dream dot on the head. You can see the much more stronger banded pattern from Orange Dream. You can see the classic Orange Dream train tracks at the rear of the snake. You can see the dorsal stripe just at the base of the tail. You can see the cleaner alien heads with no keyholes, and you can see some quite extensive flaming up the sides of this snake. You can also see some digital edge markings along the belly of this snake. So this is Orange Dream Yellow Belly. Let's see if we can figure out what gene is doing what in this snake. What is Orange Dream doing compared to our normal? What is Yellow Belly doing compared to our normal? And how do we know that both these genes are present in this snake? We're also going to add Pastel, Vanilla and Mojave to our base normal. Here is our base canvas again, our normal. So again we're adding 3 genes, Pastel, Vanilla and Mojave. What does each gene do to this normal to turn this snake into this one? And how do we recognize those genes in the snake that we just created? So there's another 3 genes that we're going to add to our base morph and try and figure out what each of them does and how to recognize them. This is the other female, which is also a Pastel, Vanilla, Mojave, but adds spot nose. So again, what does each of these genes do to our normal base canvas to turn this snake into this snake? And this one is a little more subtle. This one's a little more difficult because the other snake, whilst it was quite distinctive looking, the additional genes in this one are actually quite subtle. The more genes that we stack, the more difficult it is to see what each of them is doing individually. And so this is a great example of taking the previous snake, adding spot nose and trying to figure out what that additional gene does. We are ultimately going to stack all of these together. I'm going to show you examples of what each gene does to this normal guy here so that we can recognize it in combo. So here we go, here's our base normal. Let's add the first of those genes. It's another very subtle gene that many people struggle with and have a hard time seeing, particularly in combinations. Let's add Yellow Belly to our normal. So here you go. At first glance, not really so very distinctive. There is a slight colour variation, but actually in terms of the overall snake, this isn't a great deal different from this. So what distinguishes this snake with Yellow Belly from this one? Our normal doesn't have a great deal of flaming up the sides. There's no enhancement to that flaming up the sides, and whilst yes, this snake does have belly markers, it doesn't have edge markings. How does this snake differ? Well, immediately you can see the intensity of the colour and the flaming up the sides. Look at those oranges here in the flames coming up from the belly. If we have a look at the belly itself, you can see now that we're starting to get some digital edge markings which have a yellowish tint. So yellow belly overall is giving us a little bit more colour, a little bit more depth of colour, but what it's giving us over the normal is these awesome orange flames up the side. This is really characteristic of yellow belly. You can also see that the pattern is a little bit busier than the normal. You can usually tell something that has yellow belly not just from the flames and the digital belly markings, but also the pattern often tends to be a little bit busier. That's highly variable, especially in combinations. You can also see on the yellow belly here we have that blushed out head stamp. Can you see the blushed out head stamp? And again we have that small dot in the center, just like we do with Orange Dream, which our normal not so much. So again we have the head stamp, we have the pattern, we have the color, and we have the belly markings that distinguish our yellow belly from our normal. Alright, let's take our base canvas normal and we're going to add pastel to it and see what difference that makes. Alright, immediately you can see a massive difference. Look at the head stamp. It's a silvery black colour compared to the dark head stamp on our normal. We've brightened the snake up tremendously, and pastel is also a massive pattern changer. Pastel is much busier than a normal. You can see that we have some really nice well-formed alien heads here on this pastel, and the blacks have become so much blacker. If we look at the sides, we have some additional blushing and flames up the side, but can you see that they're silver or white in contrast to the yellow belly, which was orange? And we're also retaining that white belly. There is no yellow markers on the belly, so this is just a straight pastel. We've busied up the pattern, we've made it brighter, we've increased the contrast, and we've put some blushing in there. Let me just bring the yellow belly back so you can compare the side blushing of the yellow belly with the side blushing of the pastel. So here is pastel, here is our yellow belly. Look at the flamings on the side here. Very, very orange here, very orange, compared to our pastel, which is a sort of silvery white colour. So there you go, there's our normal with our pastel, and there's our normal with our yellow belly. And here is our pastel with our yellow belly. So let's take it up a notch and let's mix these two snakes together. Let's make a pastel yellow belly and see what that does. Remember, yellow belly has these rich colours and these awesome orange flames up the side, whereas pastel, very busy pattern, much brighter, but quite silvery in terms of the flames up the side. So here we go, yellow belly, pastel, pastel, yellow belly. So we're combining these two features. Look at the head stamp and you will see that pastel is actually dominating the head stamp. It's a little bit more blushed than just the straight pastel. The back of the head on this one is a little bit whiter. We have the same busy pattern with the nice alien heads on this pastel yellow belly, and we've taken the orange flaming up the sides of this yellow belly and we've put it into the pastel yellow belly. So what we've done is enhance the features of both. Unfortunately for us, the belly pattern on the pastel yellow belly, Pastel tends to remove the digital edge markings of a typical yellow belly, but there is still a yellowish tint to the edge of the belly, even in Pastel. So here you go, 3 snakes side by side, yellow belly, pastel, pastel, yellow belly. The pastel yellow belly also tends to have a little bit of a dorsal stripe down towards the rear of the snake. So far so good. We've taken the best qualities of yellow belly, the flaming up the side, the brightness of pastel, and we've combined them in this snake here and got exactly the result that we wanted. Orange Dream standalone is not a particularly distinctive snake. Nowhere near as bright as the sire. This is a straight Orange Dream. And how do I know that this is an Orange Dream? It's an adult, so it has dulled out. But the first thing that I want you to notice is the very strong banded pattern. It has a pattern very reminiscent of Enchi, much more banded than a normal would be. It also has no keyholes in the alien heads. Orange Dream tends to clean up a lot of the keyholes in the alien heads. And if this girl will oblige for me, if you can see the head stamp there, it is slightly blushed and has a slight dot in the middle. Many morphs do this, including in particular Leopard will have a dot on the head, but Orange Dream should also have quite a distinct dot on the head. And of course, Orange Dream has very strong train tracks in the rear part of the snake. You see how the alien heads are amalgamated and are quite bright as well, particularly towards the base of the tail. There's also always a dorsal stripe at the base of the tail. Not a complete dorsal stripe along the whole body, but there is a dorsal stripe in Orange Dream at the tail to go with those awesome train tracks here. These are the best het pied markers you will ever see, and this snake is not het pied. Orange Dream does have some minor flaming and blushing up the sides, but by itself not particularly strong, and also the orange colour is also not particularly strong. This girl was much brighter orange when she was younger, but now that she's matured, not quite so bright. So the distinctive feature of this snake, being Orange Dream, are the belly markers, the head stamp, and the banded pattern. So let's take our awesome yellow belly, and instead of putting Pastel into it, let's see what happens when we put Orange Dream into yellow belly. Oh my goodness, look at what we did. Look how orange this snake is compared to the snake underneath. The straight yellow belly has now become so orange. We have the typical Orange Dream dot on the head and slight head blushing, and we have these awesome flames up the side of the snake from yellow belly. So we've added orange with Orange Dream. We've got ourselves a pretty banded snake. So just look at the difference in the colours of these two snakes. We have in our Orange Dream yellow belly cleaned up some of the alien heads and removed some of the keyholes, which is what Orange Dream does. The banded pattern from Orange Dream is still quite apparent compared to the more standard or stock alien head pattern on the yellow belly. Just look at the belly markers on this guy. We have the yellow edging from yellow belly, And just look at those train tracks at the back from Orange Dream, these parallel lines on the tail here from Orange Dream. So we have Orange Dream yellow belly is visible in the belly markers. Orange Dream yellow belly is visible in the colour of the snake. We've taken the yellow belly orange flaming and we have intensified it. Orange Dream tends to have this little stripe at the base of the tail. We've simplified the pattern a little bit, cleaned it up, removed some of the alien heads with some of the keyholes, and we've made the snake overall a little bit higher contrast, but so much brighter. So here you go, guys. Yellow belly, Orange Dream yellow belly. I think you can see we're actually moving in the right direction. So this little guy here is actually a carbon copy of Dad. You can see that the younger snake is actually much more orange, but by mixing Orange Dream and Yellow Belly, we've managed to retain that contrast and that brightness into the adult snake. So yes, they do change. It's easier to identify the Orange Dream in this guy in the younger snake, but we will maintain that brightness and contrast into adulthood. So we've reproduced Dad, and I suspect that this guy is going to be a little bit better than Dad when it grows up. Just look at the orange flames on the sides of this guy here. So there we go, that's Orange Dream Yellow Belly. That's a straight copy of Dad. Alright, next up is Vanilla. Let's have a look and see what Vanilla does. So let's take our normal here. Let's add Yellow Belly to our normal. And we've already seen that there isn't actually a great deal of difference in terms of pattern, and actually in some of the lesser expressions not much difference in the colour either, but Yellow Belly is definitely brighter. So let's take our Yellow Belly and add Vanilla, and immediately the dead giveaway on Vanilla is the head stamp and the creamy yellow colour. Not a great deal of difference in the pattern. Vanilla is not messing with the pattern too much, but it's definitely enhancing the colour. Look at how those oranges come all the way up the sides and actually right onto the top. You'll also notice the brighter dorsal and the soft creamy colour. The alien heads have actually taken on a softer, creamier colour, and they're also cleaner. Notice the Yellow Belly here still has a little bit of dirtiness in the alien heads, whereas the Vanilla version does not. So Fire and Vanilla are actually very similar brightening genes. The difference between them is that Fire is a pattern reducer and Vanilla is not, except when it is, and we're going to see that in some later examples. But I often think that Vanilla makes your morphs look like you think they should look like. So if you add Vanilla to Pastel, it makes a really nice looking Pastel. If you add Vanilla to Yellow Belly, it makes a really nice looking Yellow Belly. And there, guys, is the difference in the head stamp. You see the Vanilla has a much lighter head stamp. So now let's take our straight Orange Dream with its very banded pattern, but not really very bright, and we're going to add just Vanilla to Orange Dream. And what would we expect to see? Well, Vanilla is going to enhance the colour, that's for sure. It's going to make the snake brighter. But as you are about to see, because Orange Dream has such a distinctive and strong pattern, it's very Enchi-like and very banded, you're going to see that Vanilla takes that banding and also accentuates the banding. So you will see that when you get a banded snake, vanilla actually helps the banding. Again, it's going to make our orange dream look like we expect an orange dream to look like. So let's take our orange dream, just zoom in a little bit here, and add a dose of vanilla. Wow! Look at the head stamp, guys. Vanilla gives the much brighter head stamp. The snake is much brighter, much more orange than just the orange dream. Vanilla also enhances the banding, so we get a super banded snake. Again, exactly the same features as orange dream. We've got these alien heads here without the keyholes in them. We have the banded pattern, and we have those awesome orange dream train tracks underneath the rear of the snake at the belly. Again, enhanced by vanilla. It's made them even better. So vanilla has turned our orange dream into perhaps what we think orange dream should look like. So we've got a brighter snake with a slightly enhanced banded pattern, so it's made everything about the orange dream better. There's the head stamp. You can see the dot in the middle, and the head stamp is much lighter than the straight orange dream. So effectively we've made an orange dream on steroids. So now let's take our orange dream vanilla and start stacking some other genes into it that we've already looked at, and we already think we know what the effect is going to be. So let's simply put a dose of Pastel into this orange dream vanilla to make a Pastel orange dream vanilla. What do we think is going to happen? Well, you're going to make the snake brighter, that's for sure, but Pastel is also going to put back some pattern. Pastel makes the snake busier. So what does a Pastel OD vanilla look like? Here it is. So you can see that we've taken our orange dream vanilla, we've made it brighter, lighter coloured, and we've busied up the pattern a little bit. So you may or may not want to use Pastel with care. If we look at the head stamp, Pastel vanilla gives a very white head stamp, much whiter than just a Pastel on its own would be. So this is Pastel vanilla orange dream. We are still getting those awesome train tracks at the back. Pastel orange dream tends to remove these belly markers, but because there's vanilla in this, and vanilla is also picking up on that pattern enhancement, we keep the train tracks. The belly is very white, but the train tracks are still there. So this is Pastel orange dream vanilla, and you'll notice that Pastel actually has removed some of those oranges and made the blushing a little bit whiter. So orange dream vanilla, Pastel orange dream vanilla. Again, the vanilla is making our Pastel orange dream look like we think a Pastel orange dream should look like. It doesn't change it a great deal, it just makes it better. Okay, so I've left our orange dream vanilla in here, and we already know that orange dream and yellow belly work really well together. Here is our orange dream yellow belly, and you can see that it has those awesome orange flames up the side, but still just a little bit of dirtiness in the alien heads. That vanilla cleans up. So here we have orange dream vanilla, and here we have orange dream yellow belly. What happens if we take this snake and add yellow belly? So we make an orange dream yellow belly vanilla. We add vanilla to this awesome combo. Oh my goodness. So this is Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. It has made our Orange Dream Yellow Belly, this guy, look like we think it should look like. Just look at the enhancement of the colour. So we've got that soft creamy vanilla colour, we've got the light coloured vanilla head stamp with the dot in the middle, we've got the Orange Dream Yellow Belly flaming, we've got the Orange Dream nice clean alien heads, and we've taken all that awesome blushing and put it all the way up to the dorsal in the snake. We've also enhanced that banded pattern. We've amalgamated the alien heads at the rear of the snake, which is what vanilla does. And because there's no pastel in this snake, we get that awesome train tracks with the yellow belly. So here is Orange Dream Yellow Belly. Here is Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. It's made it better. Here is Orange Dream Vanilla. Here is Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. So you can see how Yellow Belly is working with the Orange Dream to really bring out those oranges, really make the snake pop. But vanilla just makes everything better. So here you go guys, one at a time. Orange Dream Vanilla. Orange Dream Yellow Belly. And combine the two, Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. The brightest of the three snakes by far. That is an awesome snake. So that is just Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. Alright, now we're going to take this a step further and we're going to add two very strong pattern mutations. Every gene influences both colour and pattern, but some genes are much stronger than others in terms of pattern. So we're going to introduce Mojave with its characteristic teardrops here, and I'm going to save that for last because Mojave is very strong, always shows through in the offspring, but is also quite reactive with some of the other genes that we've put into this stack. So the other female that we used is exactly the same but adds spot nose, and you can see that in this female here it is actually Mojave that's dominating the pattern, but we can see spot nose in the head stamp and there is spot nose in this snake because we backed it out in one of the offspring. So the next gene up is going to be the pattern enhancing spot nose gene. So again, we're going to take our base morph normal. Here it is. This is our normal, and we're going to add spot nose to it to see what difference that makes. So here we go. Here is our spot nose, and you can see immediately the very strong yellow dorsal stripe. You can always recognize spot nose from the very distinctive head stamp. You can see the spot on the head, very, very distinctive, and that always shows through in spot nose. The colour, other than the dorsal stripe, is actually pretty similar. So we can expect an enhancement in the dorsal stripe from spot nose, and we can expect an enhancement in the colour of that dorsal stripe. The pattern, I always think of spot nose as being like an Egyptian pyramid with all the bricks all fitting together quite nicely with very little gap between them. So we've got these very brick-like alien heads on our spot nose. Very, very regular and very square. Compared to the alien heads on our normal, which are actually quite irregular. They have keyholes in them, and this is the spot nose with the building blocks. So we have quite a strong pattern enhancer that works really, really well. So there's our normal on top, and here is our spot nose with its characteristic head stamp and the very block-like pattern. The belly of our spot nose is not particularly distinctive. There are belly markings there, but not distinctive. So let me show you what happens if we add yellow belly to this spot nose. What do we think is going to happen? Well, yellow belly is going to enhance the pattern, and it's going to put flames up the side, isn't it? It's also going to give us some digital belly markings that this guy doesn't have. So let's take a look at that. So this is an adult spot nose yellow belly. Very distinctive head stamp with the spot in the middle. And here is our straight spot nose with exactly the same head stamp. Now we think we're going to add some blushing up the sides and some belly markers onto this snake. We've also actually made it just a little bit brighter. This is an adult, so it has dulled down a bit, but yellow belly does make it brighter. So there we have our yellow belly digital edge markings and a yellow coloration to the belly. So yes, it has done what we expected to the belly. And yes, we have got some flaming up the side. What we've also done here is busied up the pattern a little bit and put some of the keyholes back into the alien heads. We still have the very brick-like pattern, but it's a little bit wider. So yellow belly does actually bring back some pattern when mixed with pattern reducing genes. So here is our yellow belly spot nose with the flames up the side, the alien heads now with the keyholes back again and slightly wider spaced, compared to just the straight spot nose with its very brick-like, closely spaced alien head pattern. So that's spot nose with added yellow belly. So what we're going to do now is to take this awesome Orange Dream yellow belly vanilla with its really, really bright colours and its slightly reduced pattern, because vanilla is working with Orange Dream to reduce that pattern. So we're going to add one more gene to the stack. So we're going to take this awesome guy here and we're going to mix it with this guy here, and you can see the stark difference in the pattern and the alien heads and the dorsal stripe. So when we mix these two together, you're going to get that awesome colour and flaming from the Orange Dream yellow belly vanilla, and you're going to get a pattern change which is actually going to be quite dramatic when we mix it with spot nose. So let's take a look at that combination. Okay, so I don't think we expected that, did we? Clearly this is spot nose, there is no mistaking the head stamp, but we've ended up with a tiger stripe snake. How did we do that? By adding spot nose. Well, we know that this is not just spot nose and yellow belly, because we've seen that and it doesn't give a snake that looks like this. We know that this is not just spot nose and vanilla, because we don't get the pattern change that we're getting with this guy that has Orange Dream. Spot nose vanilla combos look just like spot nose, but a little bit brighter with a nice dorsal stripe. So obviously it's the Orange Dream in combination with both vanilla and spot nose that is giving this characteristic broken tiger stripe pattern. This snake is absolutely awesome. Very creamy orangey colour, indicating there is vanilla in this. And also the tiger stripe pattern, we've seen this in a couple of the other ones where orange dream and vanilla together actually try to make a stripy snake. So if we look at the belly here, you can see those superb orange flames up the side, and again we've got this digital linear marking on the tail and amalgamated alien heads towards the base of the tail. Here we go. So we have the train tracks of Orange Dream, we have the orange belly markings of Yellow Belly, we have the flames up the side. So what we have here is an Orange Dream Yellow Belly, Spot Nose, Vanilla. And we're gonna see this pattern reduction again in some of the other snakes that have Orange Dream. Orange Dream reacts very, very strongly with many genes and actually produces a quite broken pattern. Remember that Spot Nose is actually part of the spider complex, and it's obvious from looking at this guy that there is a clear relationship with spider. I think because we're used to seeing Spot Nose in clowns, and clowns have the dripping alien heads that are enhanced by Spot Nose, we forget that Spot Nose can actually produce a snake like this. So here we have Orange Dream Yellow Belly, Vanilla, Spot Nose. Remember this look in a non-recessive snake, because we're going to see this again, particularly in our Orange Dream Yellow Belly combos. So before we switch gears and add Mojave to this mix, let's have a look at another couple of genes that also work really well with Orange Dream. And the first one is Enchi. This is an Enchi Orange Dream, and you would be forgiven for thinking it's super Enchi. OD and Enchi together look like super Enchi, and it gives this characteristic very, very banded snake. Orange Dream and Enchi are very similar, and they work brilliantly together. Leopard also works very well in these combos. Both of these snakes have Leopard, Vanilla, Pastel and Orange Dream. The snake on the right is a Pastel Leopard Enchi Orange Dream. And now you can start to see how this combination breaks up the pattern and gives a very, very broken, in fact puzzle-like pattern without the need for any recessive genes in these combinations. Alright, so I'm going to show you a genetic combination here that will blow your mind in terms of a pattern mutation. If there's any doubt at all that Orange Dream is a very strong pattern influencer, this will illustrate the point. It also explains a lot of the visual look that you've seen in some of the snakes that I just showed on the video. This is Leopard Orange Dream Yellow Belly, and the interaction between Leopard and Orange Dream is just phenomenal. So here we have a typical leopard head stamp. The leopard pattern is obvious, but just look at how linear the pattern has become with Orange Dream. The train tracks have just become solid lines. We have a little ringer here. The belly, of course, is quite orange. There's the other side. We've got those linear train tracks all the way down the tail, and that very strong colour at the tail end. Even at the head end up here, you can see how linear the pattern is. And there's no spot nose in this snake. You could be forgiven for thinking that there is, that this is a het Batman. It is not. It is just leopard orange dream yellow belly. There's no enchi in this, and enchi enhances this pattern even further and makes it even wackier. So right here, if anybody needed convincing about the power of both leopard and orange dream as a pattern enhancer, this snake is it. What a powerful combination leopard and orange dream together is. A really, really strong pattern mutation. All of these combinations were produced as a byproduct of the now familiar Iron Man project, and in these reduced clown combos it can actually be quite difficult to tell what you've got, particularly identifying or differentiating between yellow belly and orange dream. So this is Cher, an iconic snake, and she is packing the lot. She is a pastel, leopard, enchi, orange dream, yellow belly, vanilla and possible Mojave. And the interesting thing here is that apart from Mojave, you can see every single one of those genes. Alright, let's step this up a notch and introduce Mojave with its characteristic teardrop alien heads with the single dot down the side. So a pastel vanilla Mojave. This guy here clearly isn't. It's brighter. It is pastel vanilla because it's got the white head. It obviously is Mojave because we've got the dripping alien heads. We have the high white sides that Mojave brings. And this is where it gets a little bit tough, guys. So the extra gene in this one that Mum doesn't have is either orange dream or yellow belly, and in these combos it's now getting quite difficult to tell them apart. We do have a dorsal stripe at the tail end, but we don't really have those train track markers anymore. So this is a copy of Mum, pastel vanilla Mojave with an extra gene. Is it yellow belly or is it orange dream? I got a second opinion on this one, and we believe, because of the slight pattern distortion that we're seeing here, plus that slightly different coloured head stamp to pure white, we believe that this is orange dream. I did actually initially identify this as yellow belly, not orange dream, but we now think the opposite. So this is Pastave vanilla orange dream, but very difficult to actually say with any certainty. So the next one up is obviously not pastel. Doesn't have the blushed out head stamp, but obviously is Mojave because we've got the dripping alien heads. This head stamp is actually quite characteristic of Mojave yellow belly with the lightning of vanilla. The creamy colour and the slightly wacky pattern suggests this is also vanilla. So the pattern of these two is actually quite similar, and this one is pastel vanilla because it's got the white head. So this one again is Mojave vanilla, and given some of the flaming that we're seeing up the side, we're saying this one is yellow belly. So this colour is quite characteristic of yellow belly. We don't think orange dream, certainly not both. It's not yellow belly and orange dream because I'm about to show you one of those. So this one we think is Mojave vanilla yellow belly. So this next one we believe is actually the Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly. It is so much more orange than the one underneath. The pattern is really whacked out. Again, we see the high white sides of Mojave, but this time we do have those parallel lines at the back end of the snake indicating Orange Dream, and the really strong colour indicates Orange Dream. So this is what we believe to be Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly, as opposed to this one, which is just Yellow Belly, we think. This one is much more orange. This one has a colour much more like the Orange Dream Yellow Belly Vanilla. But with the addition of Mojave, which is a darker gene, it doubles out a little bit. It's not quite got the same pop as the one without Mojave. But actually the oranges are very, very similar. So this one we believe is this snake with added Mojave, and the interaction of Mojave and Orange Dream gives us this really wacky pattern. No spot nose in this. Spot nose would be obvious from the head stamp, so no spot nose, but the Mojave is obvious. So we did actually make two of these guys. Again, characteristic wacky pattern. Parallel lines at the back from Orange Dream. The colour of the head stamp is Mojave Yellow Belly. We've seen that on several of these examples. And there is no spot nose. So again, Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly. Which is why we now think that this guy here, with its very obvious Mojave pattern, is not distorted like the snake underneath. This one is the one that I thought was the full house before, with, and this guy is in shed, unfortunately. So I did actually think this was Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly, but it can't be, because this is Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly. This one, there is no pattern mutation. So this one we now think does not have vanilla. Vanilla and Orange Dream would react together to give this pattern. This one doesn't have it. So we think that this is Mojave Orange Dream Yellow Belly. No indication at all in the belly markers, but the dorsal stripe does have that very, very black outline. So what do you guys think? These two are clearly not the same snake, and this one is clearly Orange Dream Yellow Belly in a Mojave. This is Orange Dream Yellow Belly in a Mojave. So one of these has vanilla and the other one does not. That's the only way to explain this relationship. So this is the one that does not have vanilla. This is the one that does not have the pattern distortion. This one is the really nice one with the wacky pattern. Mojave Vanilla Orange Dream Yellow Belly. Unfortunately, we did not produce the combination that I wanted. I wanted to get this snake, which is a Mojave Spot Nose Vanilla Yellow Belly with Orange Dream, and I'll show you some pictures of what this looked like when it was younger. The head stamp is quite distinctively spot nose in this one, so you can see the spot nose, and the Mojave pattern with the dripping alien heads has been distorted. So this guy here with the richer orange colours, even though it's in shed, is what this guy would look like with Orange Dream. It would have that colour, but obviously this one is just Mojave with no spot nose in it. So who's ready to start putting these combinations into recessives? And in this case it's a clown. Can we identify the genes that are in this recessive clown? You should be able to identify these genes from what we've just looked at. You should also be able to predict what the snake is going to look like based on the parents and the gene stack. So for that, and to listen to ARP himself describe the genetics, you're going to have to wait for my video when I visit ARP Constrictors and he shows off some of his latest creations. Alright guys, so that is an in-depth look at Orange Dream, Yellow Belly and Vanilla combined, in this case, with both Spot Nose and Mojave. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.